APA Style, The Basics of In-Text Citations, the 7th edition. Welcome. In this tutorial, you will learn the basics of APA in-text citations and discover how to give proper credit to the sources you use in your writing. We'll also cover both parenthetical and narrative citations and explain when to use each format. Again, in this video, we will cover how to properly give credit to sources through correct APA in-text citation formatting. We will also cover the components needed to create an APA in-text citation and the two types of APA in-text citations. Giving credit. Let's talk about the proper way to cite sources according to APA guidelines. Let's imagine for a moment that we are a professor and we are reading this paragraph written by a student named John. As we read the paragraph, who do we assume wrote these words? Is it John's or is it someone else's words? What if it turns out that John used ChatGPT to assist him with writing his paper? If so, which words are John's and which words are those of ChatGPT? Without proper in-text citations, John has stolen the thoughts or ideas of someone else's, thereby committing plagiarism. Plagiarism is stealing or passing off someone else's words or ideas without giving them credit. Due to the proliferation and the use of AI, the American Psychological Association has developed policies related to the use of AI in scholarship or research. According to their policy, generative AI can be listed as an author. When you use AI to draft text, analyze data, or generate ideas, you must transparently disclose its use in your text and provide a formal reference entry pointing to the specific AI tool or chat that you used. Again, authors need to be transparent in their use of AI and provide the necessary information for readers to understand how generative AI was used during the research or paper drafting process. APA treats AI tools as software, and if you use specific outputs from an AI chat, you must provide both an in-text citation as well as a full reference entry. Also, I caution students to check with their instructors before using AI for coursework. The use of generative AI in your coursework is subject to your instructor's policies and laws and state standards of academic integrity. Unauthorized use of AI may be considered plagiarism, even if you use AI just to brainstorm. According to APA guidelines, you must disclose the use of AI. Always clarify with your instructor whether and how you are permitted to use AI tools for an assignment. In the cases where you are permitted to use AI for a written assignment, we recommend that you include a disclosure statement in your paper just before the references page. This example here provides you with a sample of what your written disclosure statement should look like. It should be between 1 to 3 sentences in length and explain how you use the AI tool. Now, let's look at John's paragraph rewritten with credit. Now that we have gone over why it's important to give credit to outside sources. So looking at this paragraph, which thoughts or ideas were ChatGPT's? As you can see, the last sentence of the paragraph was generated with the assistance of ChatGPT. Which were John's? From close examination, we can see that the first sentence are the thoughts or ideas of John. Again, we use in-text citations to prevent plagiarism. Now let's look at the elements you need to create an APA in-text citation. Just so you know, in-text citations are what you find in the body of your paper. In APA, as well as with MLA, in-text citations tell the reader of your paper where you're pulling information from. APA in-text citation format. When using APA style, in-text citations follow the author date format. This means that the author's last name and the year of publication for the source appear in the text within parentheses. If you're directly quoting a source, you will need to include a locator. Using the APA citation below, let's take a look at what an APA in-text citation should look like. From the citation, you can see that Toni Morrison is the author and the year the source was published was 1970. Hence, our citation would appear as Morrison 1970 within parentheses. Remember, all in-text citations must refer to a full citation on the reference page. If you do not include a citation on the reference page, you're not properly citing another's thoughts or ideas, and this is considered plagiarism. As mentioned before, if you're directly quoting a source, a locator is required. A locator can be a page number, a timestamp, or a paragraph number or heading. Now that we've discussed the elements of an APA citation, let's review the two types of APA in-text citation. The first type is called the parenthetical in-text citation. That is where the author's name and the publication information are within parentheses. The other type of citation is the narrative in-text citation. In the narrative in-text citation, the author's last name, or maybe even something about the author, are part of the sentence. So the only information within parentheses is the date of publication. Remember, regardless the type of citation that you use, both types of citation refer to a reference citation on the last page of the paper. There are only two ways for you to use a source in a research paper. One is to quote from it verbatim, putting the quoted words in quotation marks. And the other is to paraphrase. That is where you more or less put the same quote in your own words. Regardless of whether you're quoting from a source or whether you're paraphrasing from a source, you must always cite the source. When it comes to in-text citations, we have two major scenarios. We either have 1 to 2 authors or 3 or more authors. First, let's examine 1 to 2 authors. 1 to 2 authors is fairly straightforward. Every time you have 1 to 2 authors, you'll write out all of the authors' names along with the year of publication for the source. As we have reviewed, there are two types of citations, narrative and parenthetical. Sometimes students want to put the entire title of an article in their paper. That's not necessary. Since APA is a name-date citation style, all you need to do again is put the author and the date in parentheses. So, for a narrative citation, the author of the source is mentioned in the sentence. Let's look at this first example. A study by Bowden, open parentheses, 2019, close parentheses, argues. If I have 2 authors, I would write out their names, as in the second example. Research by Horn and Harmon, open parentheses, year of publication 2018, close parentheses, supports, and continues along with the sentence. The other type of citation is the parenthetical citation. This is the kind of statement or sentence that has like a little abbreviation statement at the end of a direct quote or paraphrase. So if you have one author, we only simply open the parentheses and write the author's last name followed by a comma, then the date of publication, and then we close the parentheses. If we have 2 authors, we'll write out their names, and you'll notice we use an abbreviated and. It is an ampersand sign which separates the 2 authors' last names, followed then by a comma and then the year of publication for the source. If you have 3 or more authors, we simply write out the first author's last name, followed then by the Latin phrase et al., meaning altogether. So for a narrative citation, when in the body of the paper, you're going to put the lead author's last name, followed then by the Latin phrase et al., then put a period, then a comma, and then the year of publication within parentheses. With a parenthetical citation, you're going to put the abbreviated citation again at the end of the sentence with the lead author's last name, and in this case it's Harmon, followed then by the Latin phrase et al., followed then by a period and then a comma. Then you would put the year of publication. Close parentheses. All of this information again is in parentheses as you see in the example. So now let's discuss direct quotes. Let's imagine for a moment that we are quoting from this source, A Practical Guide to APA, written by Angela Jones in 2022. In APA style, there are specific rules or guidelines to follow when you're directly quoting from a source. When directly quoting from a source, you need to have the author's name, the publication year of the source, as well as the locator. Now, let's examine a narrative citation and see how you would directly quote information. In this sentence, the author is referenced, and then there is the information that is quoted, which is in quotation marks, then followed by the publication year of the source, followed then by the page number in parentheses. I also want to mention the punctuation that comes at the end of the sentence after the closed parentheses. Always put your punctuation at the end of a sentence after the closed parentheses. With parenthetical citations, your citation information comes at the end of your quote, and the citation will include the author's last name followed by a comma, then the year of publication of the source, and then another comma, and then the page number. Close parentheses. With direct quotations that do not have a page number, we include the paragraph number. So if you're looking at a website, for example, and you can count down the number of paragraphs on a web page and where you are directly pulling your quote from, you would then reference the paragraph number from where you got the direct quote. Now let's discuss paraphrasing and how APA citations are handled. When you paraphrase, you're effectively putting what you've read into your own words, like with direct quoting. When you have a narrative citation and you're paraphrasing, the author is mentioned in a sentence, and you would place the year in parentheses following the paraphrased information, or directly after the author's name. With parenthetical citations, the author is not mentioned in the sentence, therefore you would put their name and the date of the publication at the end of the sentence. Remember, if you have 3 or more authors, you must put the lead author's last name followed by ETAL, or the Latin word for altogether, and then the date, separated by a comma. If after watching this tutorial you have any questions or you need our assistance with helping you format your APA style paper, please do not hesitate to contact the Lawson State Library. Also, if you would like to review the Lawson State Library's APA LibGuide, you can scan the QR code on the screen. For some additional resources to help you as well, please scan the QR code for the APA official website and Purdue OWL's APA Guide. And again, remember, the Lawson State Library is here to help.